Bula Vinaka, I'm Alice Lolohea. Welcome to the Pacific.
Lee, I'm Johnson Diada. Let's take a look at what's coming up on the show. We're in Timor-Leste, 50 years on from the murders of the Balibo 5.
Feral monkeys causing havoc in Palau.
And who won the ABC's Pacific Break Music Competition? We find out a bit later in the show.
You are the winner of Pacific Break 2025.
Woo! Let's go! Well done!
But first, France's ongoing political crisis, with its seeming revolving door of prime ministers, is a long way from our neck of the woods.
But that doesn't mean the chaos isn't making waves in our region, as a fragile New Caledonia tries desperately to rebuild and find a political path forward following last year's deadly riots.
Sedia Sona has this story with help from Gabriella Marchant and Nicolas Job.
The question is, which season of which Netflix series are we actually watching? Let's stop this kind of psychodrama, this melodrama of democracy that completely devalues it.
France is damaged. France is humiliated. France is ridiculed in the eyes of the whole world.
There's a bit going on in France. Its embattled latest Prime Minister, Sébastien Lecornu, reappointed by President Emmanuel Macron just days after he quit.
Emmanuel Macron doesn't have a governing majority. Every Prime Minister and ministry that he appoints doesn't have the numbers in Parliament to pass legislation. And in the last 10 months, 3 governments have collapsed in Paris.
In these times, the head of state has 2 possible choices, either resignation or dissolution.
The only ones who would welcome a crisis, a budgetary breakdown in France, are not France's friends.
But half a world away, New Caledonia is feeling the aftershocks, with the French territory still in a political deadlock over its future and its economy in ruins after unrest broke out last year.
The situation in New Caledonia isn't great. There are huge numbers of unemployed people, and on top of that, industries are in crisis. The country is in debt. It's a disaster.
Several members of my family have lost their jobs, and so, well, they're trying to rebuild.
In 2024, New Caledonia's GDP dropped 13.5% in 1 year. The health system's been badly damaged, schools and education's been disrupted, public transport's in a mess.
France has announced millions in economic aid, but with the French government unable to pass a budget, that money's in jeopardy.
At the moment, New Caledonia is really in crisis.
We have a lot of work to do around the economy and the reorganization around our public function.
Then there's the issue of settling a new political agreement on the territory's future. The Bougainville Accord between pro-independence and French loyalist groups was brokered in July, a deal that would see the creation of a New Caledonian citizenship within France, as well as a reorganisation of the system to elect provincial governments. But the agreement requires passage through both houses of French Parliament to pave the way for a referendum to adopt it in the French territory. And despite signing the original agreement, New Caledonia's biggest pro-independence bloc, the FLNKS, has withdrawn its support.
Bougainville is not an agreement, it is a draft, That's too much difficult to implement this draft because too much move.
The Accord's chief architect, Manuel Valls, has also been replaced by the more conservative Naoma Mochu.
I really hope that this minister will continue with Manuel Valls' work.
And then there's the issue of provincial elections, which are slated for November.
There's proposals to change those under the Bougainville Agreement. So the question whether the election's held before or after Bougainville is implemented in law is pretty crucial.
A bill to postpone the elections until after the agreement's ratification must pass by the end of this month, and if it doesn't, the vote will proceed under current rules, likely favouring pro-independence candidates. And though the political path remains unclear, people here are doing what they can to live together despite it all.
Here we do everything for the children, for the good of our children. I hope everyone can agree on something.
Whatever happens to bring people together or divide them, that's something we can't control. So what do we mainly hold on to? We keep the bonds we have with others, whoever they are.
To the US now, because Alice, there's moves underway to challenge a vital native Hawaiian institution.
That's right, Johns. In Hawaii, Kamehameha schools have long been a place to educate and nurture Kanaka Māori children. But a Virginia-based group is threatening legal action against the institution and its 140-year-old admissions policy. The group, Students for Fair Admissions, believes that race and ethnicity-based college admissions are unfair, unnecessary and unconstitutional. The group has taken multiple American universities to court over their admissions schemes and won.
The opinion issued today by the United States Supreme Court marks the beginning of the restoration of the colorblind legal covenant that binds together our multiracial, multi-ethnic nation.
Despite having no connection to Hawaii, the group has now set their sights on the island's Kamehameha schools.
What we do not support, and what federal civil rights law does not permit, is a racially exclusionary admissions policy that bars qualified children from attending solely because they lack native Hawaiian ancestry.
The group has also called for submissions from people who were denied entry to help build their legal case. But Kanaka Māori says the group's actions reflect a lack of understanding Hawaii's history.
They don't understand the injustice that has been caused to our people, the disenfranchisement of our people. They're just selfish people. And I say that, in an angry way, because we barely have anything left. Our lands have been stripped of us. We're the most in poverty, the most homeless, the most with health disparities, all Western diseases that have been brought to our lands. And then the very little things that we have to help uplift our people are now trying to be stripped away from us. So it is very much because of the political environment that exists that these things are being exacerbated.
The Kamehameha schools were established with the sole purpose of educating Kanaka Māori children. In witnessing the social and cultural decline of her people, Princess Bernice Pauahi Bishop placed all her land into a trust and in her will instructed that schools be built, prioritising the education of native Hawaiian children.
The school does a lot more to support post-secondary education, even pre-education, like kindergarten, a preschool. So the school does a lot, and they take a huge burden off of the state, off of America's system. They don't take any tax dollars to do this. This is all funded privately using the trust funds that were left by our princess.
While a lawsuit is yet to be filed by the Students for Fair Admissions group, Lewis says support has come from Hawaiians and non-Hawaiians living in the islands.
This lawsuit is not coming from Hawaii, it's coming from outside of Hawaii. And so I think we'll just weather the storm like we have over many generations and continue to fight for what's just for our people, for our community.
While colonising the Pacific, world powers left behind some interesting things. There's the hundreds of relics from battles and wars, various languages, and the influence of fashion.
But on Anga, a tiny island in the south of Palau, macaque monkeys were introduced in the early 1900s by German colonists. And as James Nokise found, they've been causing havoc ever since.
From above, the scenery of Palau is truly breathtaking. I'm on my way to the island of Angar. It spans just over 4 square kilometers, and it's overrun by thousands of invasive macaque monkeys. During World War I, when Germany was in control of Palau, they brought over a dozen macaque monkeys from Indonesia to Angar as pets. Currently, there's 114 people living on the island, but estimates have the monkey population approaching 5,000. The macaques have thrived through a chain of events involving war, neglect, and geopolitics. On the back of a ute, I've set out to find these monkeys. They're affecting the island's agriculture and food security, and the locals are fed up.
There are no bananas.
There's a lot of monkeys. They eat the plants, like coconuts, So they need to do something about it.
Monkey is very big problem in Angkor. That's why we don't have banana. There's no fruits here because the monkey is really problem over here.
For years, the locals in government have tried different ways to remove or eradicate the monkeys.
We have bounty programs where we shoot the monkeys and sell them to get money. The incentive to eliminate the monkeys. But that sort of triggers another issue of animal rights.
Palau President Surunjil Whips Jr. has one idea that could help.
I was talking, I think, to somebody from Mauritius who was telling me that their monkeys, I think that's one of their biggest exports, is exporting their macaques that are used in research. The cures for COVID, they were tested on macaques. So maybe we can turn Angkor into a research facility.
Another idea is to make the monkeys a tourist attraction.
Our idea is to have a sanctuary on the island where the monkeys can go and congregate. Kind of like what you see in Bali. So when the tourists come, they buy fruits and they feed the monkeys and you go and enjoy them.
Back on the truck to try and find these macaques. And not only are they invasive, they're also elusive. But we did manage to find one in a cage.
Oh, my cousin gave it to me. It was really small.
Yeah, they said the mom was.
Yeah, so I bring it here and I don't have fruits to feed the monkey, so I start feeding him with the bread and milk. Yeah, that's all I give him. So he's like 7 months or 8 months now.
No.
One development that has contributed to the displacement of monkeys and their encroachment onto human settlements is the US military's expanding presence on Angkor, where land has been cleared to make way for a new radar facility.
I think that's something that we need to continue to talk with the United States about, because that's something that I brought up with the admirals, that I said, your radar site displaced these monkeys, so now they're become a pest in the rest of the village, and so you need to help us with this situation.
2 months ago, we contacted the US government for comment, but we are yet to receive a response. The German government, however, did respond when we posed questions around responsibility for the monkeys. They responded.
Germany is very aware of its colonial legacy throughout the Pacific. In recent years, high-ranking German officials have increasingly travelled to the region to engage in dialogue. Addressing Germany's colonial past remains a priority for the new German government.
However, they never mentioned the monkeys specifically. For now, it seems no one wants to take responsibility for them, and this unusual quirk of history seems likely to go on unresolved.
For more on this story, you can check out the extended Monkeys in Palau episode on Pacific Specials via the ABC Listen app. And in Timor-Leste, it's coming up on an important anniversary, nearly 50 years since Indonesia invaded the then Portuguese province.
The invasion led to more than 2 decades of violence in which over 100,000 people were killed. North of Australia, the island of Timor was split by Dutch and Portuguese colonisers in the 1500s and stayed that way for nearly 500 years. While West Timor's occupation by the Dutch ended when Indonesia gained control in 1949, Portugal held on to the east until 1974, with leaders announcing Timor-Leste's independence in November 1975. But neighbouring Indonesia had other plans. Invading, under the guise of fending off communism as the Cold War was reaching its zenith. The invasion sparked a long guerrilla war and eventual military occupation lasting more than 2 decades, with widespread accusations of a genocide of the Timorese people.
This is the continuous suffering and torture of the young people in East Timor and people in East Timor under the Indonesian brutal army occupation.
A UN report found at least 100,000 people died in the conflict, with an estimated 70% killed by Indonesian forces through massacres, systematic killings, as well as starvation and illness.
I have to
Australia supported the Indonesian government at the time until the fall of Indonesian dictator Suharto in 1998 paved the way for Australia to switch sides to back Timorese independence, which it eventually gained in 2002.
Greg Shackleton at an unnamed village, which we'll remember forever.
But long before, the campaign to highlight the Timorese plight gained prominence in Australia when 5 Australian-based journalists covering the invasion in 1975 disappeared and were found to have been killed despite being clearly marked as press.
The word Australia, we're hoping it will afford us some protection.
Known as the Balibo 5, the reporters' plight became a touchstone to elevate the cause, and this week marks 50 years since their disappearance. Even after so much time, Francisco de Cots Pereira has not forgotten them. He drove some of the group to Balibo before they were murdered.
We remember them, and it's been 50 years now. We're still alive thinking of them. This memory we will never forget until we die, because it's a reflection and a story for us.
No one involved in the killing has ever been held responsible. Evan Shackleton's father, Channel 7 reporter Greg Shackleton, was one of the Balibo 5. He says the Australian government was too slow to act in investigating what happened to his father. But the people of Timor-Leste have shown him nothing but love.
It's embarrassing that my government did everything they could to put me out like a cigarette butt. And in Timor-Leste, totally different situation. Everywhere I've gone since I got here, I've only got here yesterday, handshaking, photographs, I'm so sorry for what happened. People here are amazing.
For more, let's go now to our reporter, Vanya Vieira, who's currently in Balibo. Hola, Vanya. Now, as we've just heard, families of the Balibo 5 are still waiting for justice. What commemorations are taking place in Timor 50 years on?
Yes, hola, John. In Timor-Leste, we have very significant and important day to commemorate 50 years of Balibo 5 days in Balibo, near to the border of Indonesia. So, and also we commemorate the National Press Freedom Day in 16 October. Here also have representative of the family of Balibo 5, Ivan Shackleton, the son of Greg Shackleton, that were killed in 75 by Indonesian army. While journalists and Timor-Leste activists also call for justice and show solidarity for 5 journalists that killed in 75. And in Balibo, for journalists Timor-Leste, the 5 journalists is inspiration for them how to become a good journalist in the future. For the 50 years Balibo 5 commemoration in Timor-Leste, the government and Timor-Leste president and also the press council organized the reflection, a mass, and also the Balibo 5 Media Award for Timor-Leste journalists to reflecting how is the 5 journalists killed in 75 in Balibo, in the border, near to the West Timor, Indonesia.
Now, 1975 also marked the beginning of a devastating period for the people of Timor, with the beginning of a decades-long conflict and occupation by Indonesia. Now, Vanya, is there any momentum to seek further justice for the people of Timor against those who prosecuted the war?
Yes, until today, Timor-Leste people call for justice that Indonesian military has done with human rights violence since 75 until 99. In the other side, our government continues to do reconciliation with the Indonesian government for peace and friendship. But the victims and survivors and human rights activists continue to struggle for cold justice to achieve the justice for the victims that have get violence, human rights violence in Timor-Leste during Indonesian occupation.
Vanya, obrigado ba itania tempo.
Wow, obrigada, Mon John.
Well, it's that time of the year again when musicians across the Pacific submit their hottest tracks to the region's biggest music competition.
We're talking, of course, about ABC Radio Australia's Pacific Break. And this year, there were 248 original songs from 18 island nations entered.
But there can only be one winner, and you're going to have to watch this story to find out who the winner is.
Hello, Mantis, you there, bro?
Yo, yeah, it's me.
Yo,
what's up?
It's Jacob and Michael as well. Michael's here.
What's up?
It's the boys from...
What's up, Jacob? What's up, Michael?
Bro, we just wanted to say a huge congratulations, Mantis, because you are the winner of Pacific Break 2025. Yes!
You're not joking with me, right?
No,
this is for real.
No, yeah, man.
You're not playing with me, right?
Me no play, me no game, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't try to play with the weatherman. I make it rain, fire, call the fireman. Old boy come around like a brother man. Me no day one, me no not one.
Congratulations again on your win.
Thank you.
Having had that phone call, what does it mean to you knowing that you're the winner?
It's been a long time coming to, be able to have these types of opportunities, and I think it's just it's a testament to our hard work and dedication, and it's a big moment for us. We've dreamed of these kinds of moments, and I really hope that this opportunity can propel us further in our careers.
Making music from nothing to something, for so what now we make it moves with it.
How long have you been singing?
So I've been making music for around 10, going to 11 years now. We started in 2014 with a group called Confliction. It was myself, Noble, Equalix, Westai and Jamin, and a few other members. We transitioned from being a group of artists to being a group that helps other artists. So, and that's how we want to continue doing things.
The winning song, what inspires the song and what it meant?
For us who live in Vanuatu, we know that the weather is not to be played with. Yeah. We are faced with many struggles, climate change, but above all, we've been through cyclones, sometimes tsunami warnings, and most recently the earthquake. That's kind of just what a metaphor that I used to affiliate myself and my crew with. It's like, don't try to play with the weatherman. It's like when you hear us, when you hear our sound or hear our songs, you know we're not to play with. But yeah, this is studio. We plan to expand. During the earthquake, a few things were damaged. Our speakers there, they're a bit, run down, but we'll get those changed soon enough.
Inégalité pour étude, le sang de mes frères je les salute, les larmes de mes sœurs de la lutte, le monde à l'envers c'est la chute, vive la Kanaky, fils de...
I always try to implement some sort of conscious writing into it. In my second verse I talk about the ongoing riots that were happening in New Caledonia.
Are you looking forward to performing in Australia?
Absolutely. I'm nervous because it's Australia. And that's crazy. It's crazy saying that now. This is, a whole new playing field. I think it'll be great.
That was not your design. Young blood, stay aligned, and if not, get in line. But don't try to play with the weatherman. I make it rain, fire, call the fireman. Old boy come around like a brother man. Me no care man, me no fussing man. Me no play, me no ganja man. We still make out respect, bro, Rasta man.
I think in everything in life, it's important to add a bit of yourself inside of the things you do, and it's important for us to be able to showcase that whenever we can.
Palm trees, mantis.
A National Geographic team has launched a groundbreaking deep-sea expedition in Fiji, exploring uncharted waters and key biodiversity hotspots.
The mission is part of a global effort to help Pacific nations protect their oceans. Our reporter Lide Movono was on board.
Fiji is a nation born of the sea. But there is a part of its ocean most have never seen. In January, the government signed an agreement with National Geographic's Pristine Seas to explore and help protect its offshore deep waters. And for me, it was the ride of a lifetime.
Thank you for bringing us.
The night before our submarine dive, I felt anxiety and fear. 10 minutes later, I looked down, and we were already 20 meters deep. The blues shifted into something entirely new.
Gosh, I'm never gonna get over this.
The fear lifted. I couldn't stop smiling. It was like another world.
I just want Fijian girls, Pacific Island girls, to look at this.
Scientists call it the offshore deep sea. For Fiji, like most Pacific nations, it's a blank space. We know the beaches and reefs, but beyond the horizon lies the next frontier. Unknown, invisible, yet vital.
It's very likely that some of the animals that we're going to see on there will be the first records of that species in the country of Fiji.
To capture the deep, scientists used new tools: submersible dives, drop cameras reaching 6,000 meters, browse to lure sharks and rays, even eDNA samples to detect life from a single drop of water. The results were extraordinary. Tiger sharks, manta rays, humpback whales, turtles, giant clams, even spawning fish aggregations. Some species were recorded here for the first time. For Fiji, the goal is clear: to protect 30% of its ocean by 2030. But protection is only meaningful if you know what's there. Until now, deep sea data was almost impossible for Pacific governments to get.
This research will give us some information and data and, help with the discussions that's taking place in terms of, what's out there, what are we trying to protect, and how is this going to benefit.
In 3 months, the Argo and Argonaut took 15 Fijians into the deep. Politicians, scientists, teachers. The idea, if they experienced the awe, they would carry that urgency into policy and classrooms.
Without that sense of awe and wonder, we would not love the ocean. It's this sense of awe and wonder that makes us fall in love with nature and the ocean and makes us want to preserve it.
But scientists warn, overfishing and extraction risk wiping out species before we even know they exist. When we finally reached the bottom, I was overwhelmed. The deep sea is often romanticized, but what I saw beneath the waves were homes, living beings in their own worlds.
I've been working in this space for a while, but it doesn't prepare you for the magic that you feel when you realize you're not alone, but you are the one that has the most impact on everyone else, and that's a responsibility.
That's our show for another week. Thank you for watching.
Next week, we bring you a special on beauty pageants in the Pacific and why parts of our region are obsessed with them. Mo mea.